in the US is getting a little crazy. Because on TikTok, this girl went viral when she uploaded a video of her delivery bag of lunch she ordered that the driver that delivered her food wrote that was a small tip on, and many people were in an uproar over this. For good reason, because if that delivery driver had already written that on the bag, that means they had already been pre-tipped, which means they hadn't even picked up the order yet before receiving that tip. And the reason that this is problematic is because most people, if not all people, tip based on service. So if this girl who ordered that food pre-tipped without knowing what the service was going to even be like, whether you make sure her drinks don't spill or the food that she ordered doesn't get soggy or cold, that should already be a great thing because she didn't wait to tip you. The tip was already guaranteed. I just find it extremely condescending to do this, especially when there was a pre-guaranteed tip. And as nice as pre-tipping can be, it has become its own kind of demon because this person uploaded this TikTok of 2 McDonald's bags waiting to be delivered and said this DoorDash order has been sitting here for over 10 minutes. No drivers have picked it up because no tip equals no trip. Well, you can really turn that around because no trip equals no tip. I truly cannot wrap my head around this one because you're just preventing yourself from making tips entirely because these drivers are acting like getting pre-tipped is the only way to be tipped. Like, there is another form of tipping that exists. I understand why some people don't pre-tip before they get their order because they don't know what the service is going to be like and they don't want to tip a bad service. But if you provide a good service and you're on time, then people will tip you. Like, pre-tipping isn't the only way to be tipped. Are we already forgetting about this? There's also a trend on TikTok where teenagers are posting themselves eating at restaurants and getting below average service because of the reputation they have of not tipping, to the point of not even getting silverware to eat their meals. And I think that this person makes a fantastic point. This is the quote, teens don't tip paradox. Servers give bad service because they don't think that teens will tip. Therefore, the teens don't tip because of the bad service. Then the servers go online and say that teens don't tip. And then the cycle continues. Look, I completely understand getting irritated if a full-grown adult doesn't tip. But these are literal kids that you're treating like garbage on purpose because teenagers don't have nearly enough amount of money that the adults do in order to tip. That is extremely unfair. Also, you don't even really know if every single teenager is the same. It is an unfair stereotype because, again, if you're not going to give them silverware or you're not going to give them their appetizers because of this propaganda that you've read online, then you're never going to be tipped by these teenagers ever. Here's the thing. Teenagers do not have a lot of money. Everybody watching this video has been a teenager at some point or is a teenager, and you can confidently say there's not a whole lot of money as a teenager. Say that there's 2 14-year-olds who go out for lunch. There is a 99.9% chance that their parents have given them money in order to go out for this meal. And these parents have only given these kids a certain amount of money to use, which means it isn't the kids' fault that they don't have enough money. And it isn't a malicious decision not to tip. And it's certainly not intentional either. I don't usually make videos like this, but if you don't have enough money to tip, don't go out to eat. Do you hear yourself? That is just a terrible thing to say. People who don't earn a lot of money still deserve to go out for a nice meal at a nice restaurant. I just had a table of 4 teenage boys. They ordered an appetizer, dessert, milkshakes, and they had me split the bill, and I was such a great server to them. And them stiffing me completely ruined the rest of my shift and wasted my time. I'm so mad. You guys expect way too much out of teenagers, and it's actually kind of crazy. Those boys had you split the bill because they don't make enough money. One can't cover the entire group. Of course they have to split the bill and pay for just themselves. They still deserve to have fun and make memories. This is genuinely a bizarre phenomenon on. How can we want teenagers to get off of their devices and go outside with their friends and not spend all of their youth on a screen, but then in the same breath tell them that they don't deserve to go out if they don't tip? That leads to them spending more time on the phone.
I am literally checking myself out for my chicken at this machine, and it's asking me if I'd like to tip.
This is getting ridiculous. Look, everyone is aware that you can just click no tip. That is obvious. But it's the fact that tipping culture in the US is getting so terrible to the point where there can be zero human interaction, zero human work, zero human effort, and yet people are still expected to tip for what? That money isn't going directly to a human being. That money is going directly to the company. If a real person was not hired for this job and this computer was instead introduced by the company, why exactly should I be tipping the goddamn corporation? You're already charging $17 for a small container of chicken strips. All of that money is going directly to you. So it's not like you need any more money. And I understand that tipping is very important to do and people should do it. But forcing people into giving you money is not the way to go about it, because people are more likely to tip you on their own accord rather than not giving them the option and saying that they're rude otherwise. What happened to just leaving out a tip jar and leaving that choice out in the open for your customers to make that decision? Tipping culture is real. It doesn't matter if you think it's wrong or that our boss should tip us a livable wage. If your check is $200 and I gave you a great service, giving me a $5 tip isn't okay. Every time I see a video about tipping culture, you just see the hypocrisy of waiters telling other low-income people that they don't deserve to eat out based on the same system that allows them to work for $2 an hour. And this truly said it all. Everybody has got themselves stuck in a loop, and it's not the waiter's fault, it's not the server's fault, and it's not the customer's fault. One big party who's a major player in this, that's their fault. Do we want to take a guess who it is, ladies and gentlemen? Here's the loop. The server doesn't get tipped. Server then tells people that if they can't afford more than a $5 tip, they don't deserve to eat out. Customers get understandably upset over this opinion. Customer then, the next time they go out, either doesn't tip or tips lower based on the server's belief. And then the cycle just continues. This is why tipping culture will never get any better. Also, it doesn't help the cause to basically deceive people into tipping by covering up the no tip option on the payment screen with a tip sticker to force customers into giving you a tip when a tip is supposed to be optional, because this will actually hurt your business in the end when you never have returning customers in the future because of this. You are literally more likely to be tipped when you give people the choice to do so and not tricking them into doing it.
So tipping culture in the United States has gotten out of control. I went to get my eyebrows done today, and you know how when you either use Apple Pay or insert your card on the little machine behind me, the tipping screen pops up. And typically it suggests 15%, 20%, 25%, or custom. Nope, not this lady. 75%, 85%, 100%? Is she okay? This really rubbed me the wrong way, because I feel like the amount of times people have probably just clicked on it, not realizing, just from habit, because usually it says 15, 20, 25. That really bothered me. I'm not going back to her.
And that is exactly why some businesses are not getting tipped or even losing customers. Because I don't know if it's just because I'm not American, but in what world does a $21 service require any more of a tip than $1 or $2? A $15.75 tip being the lowest amount that you can tip for a $21 service is robbery. I don't care how good at your job that you may be. Yes, this lady did have the money to get her eyebrows done, but that doesn't mean she had the extra $21 to give to you for no reason. Wanting $42 for the same amount of time, the same amount of effort, and the same amount of product used for the $21 job is absolutely ridiculous. When your client pays you $150 for a full set of lashes, but only tips you $3. Girl, what? You own your own business. You have no employees to pay and no boss to take a percentage of your wage. All of that $150 down to the last penny is going directly to you. So why on earth are you upset that they've only tipped you $3? They didn't have to do that because they just paid you $150. They did a nice thing by giving you extra money that they didn't have to give you. And you're complaining over that? Girl, stop. And don't even get me started on how tipping is supposed to be optional, and yet this company is automatically applying an 18% service charge for parties 1 or larger. Okay, firstly, that's not even a tip anymore. That's just a part of the final charge. You're not giving people a choice to tip, because if it's automatically applied to the order and the person doesn't want to pay the 18%, then that means they don't get their food if it's automatically applied and they don't want to pay it. There's something a bit weird about that, no? Secondly, what if the service is bad? What if they're rude to the customer or they take way too much time that isn't necessary? You're telling me someone has to pay $9 for that and they don't get a choice? I mean, tipping culture is getting so bad to the point where it's extending to freaking weddings. Because this woman is mad she had a wedding with 120 guests and only got 12 cards and 4 gifts. Babe, that is your wedding. You chose to have that wedding. People are not required to give you anything because you wanted to get married. This is meant to be a lifelong promise and a celebration of your love and the relationship you have with your partner and that you're going to have for the rest of your lives. Not a way to get free money and free presents from 120 people. Guys, don't have a wedding then.
You should be tipping parents that throw birthday parties, and if you're not giving at least $10, you should not bring your child. Actually had a few clients who let me see their invitation so that I could get the vibe for their party. On those invitations, at least 3 that I've seen so far, there is a little spot on the bottom that says tipping is encouraged. One invitation had a little explanation underneath it where it said tipping is encouraged. If you bring your child and they plan to eat and play, please send along cash with your child for the tip bucket to go towards party expenses.
Parties ain't like what they used to be when I was a child, I can tell you that. When I was a kid, if a parent was hosting a party for their child, they would hand out RSVPs to confirm who was coming or not, so that they, the parent, could purchase enough food and drink for everybody. Not the other way around. You, the one throwing the party, you should plan and organize what you need to buy because it is your party that you wanted to throw for your child. Not relying on tips from other parents, because that's not how a party works. Because here's the thing, the parent of a child who is invited to this party has most likely already purchased a gift for your child with their own money to give to your child. And you still want more money out of them? Oh my god, these new age parents, something so entitled about y'all. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this video and ignoring my broken nail. You better have ignored it. Anyways guys, mwah. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am doing this. How do I do it? How do I? I've been getting my own outro. Hold on. Give me a second. It was the nail. It's the nail. I'm losing brain power because I lost the nail. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Mwah. I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.